Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. This is the Tata Nexon facelift and we are going to be reviewing this car. But today there's a bonus review because I am going to review a service. Men's haircut at home from Urban Company. I know we are all sick of our unkempt hair. Some of us picked up the trimmer and some of us called our moms to do the needful. But experts are experts, and with Urban Company, I know that I'll get a 10 on 10 haircut every time. They follow all the safety measures, be it gloves, mask, temperature check, and sanitize everything properly. The best part, they carry everything along, even disposable capes and sheets, and clean the entire area. So well after the service, there's not a hair, no mess left behind. So you know you are safe, you're at home, and your hair now looks awesome. So no need to try disaster experiments on your hair. Call Urban Company and get a haircut in the safety of your home. And back to the vlog. Straight away, let's open the engine bay of this vehicle. Now this is the petrol model. This is the petrol engine. You can see the vibes there because this is a 3-cylinder motor. And of course there's a lot of space in the engine bay. There's insulation right there which helps to a certain extent. Now because this is the facelift of the Tata Nexon, there are a lot of changes up front. In fact, they have also revised the hood. It's flatter, it's taller so that it meets the new pedestrian emission norms, not the pedestrian emission norms, the pedestrian safety norms. This emission has got into my head right now. Anyways, the lights are now slimmer, they look smarter, and you get this beautiful DRL. There's a projector setup, but this is not an LED headlight. So the high beam is actually not having a projector. It's the regular light as such, halogens. Now this is the fog lamp, which is also a halogen unit. It gets this surround around it, which also looks very smart, and it gets the cornering function too. Meanwhile, the grille gets the piano black or the gloss black finishing and the Tata logo boldly up front. You get a fake skid plate as well, and the front looks really smart. They have really lifted up the design of the car. There's a towing hook here. This is the Humanity line, I believe, which is finished in chrome. The grille is actually small as such because the opening. So here is the horn of the vehicle, and there are tri-stars here below, which I kind of find unnecessary because it reminds me of Mercedes-Benz. I can see 7 Mercedes-Benz logos right there. So they have also removed the ceramic paint which was there on the front in the earlier car, which was very distinct on the Nexon. However, it's still there on the side. I actually do not like it, to be honest. From the side, things look quite similar as such. Now Tata Motors says that this is an SUV with a sports coupe design because of the sloping line at the rear. But we'll come to that in a bit. The alloy wheels actually look very smart. 215 60 16s are the size of the tires, and these are Goodyear rubber on this car. You get this body cladding running all around. You get this body side molding as well. And this is the request sensor, piano black finishing on the outside rear view mirrors, along with of course the indicators as well. Meanwhile, the A pillar is finished in black, and then they have the ceramic coating. So it's a dual tone color. Roof rails are not functional. That is the sunroof. That is the shark fin antenna, which is again finished in piano black, and they have blackened out the C pillar as well for the floating roof treatment of the vehicle. So a lot of color mix on this car, and you have got this white ceramic line running on the lower part of the windows, which also looks quite nice, to be honest. Ground clearance is massive, 209 mm, and the wheel arches are also a bit flared on this car. Coming to the rear, again there are a lot of changes. Nexon is boldly written right here, yes, and this is to open the boot of the vehicle. This is the camera integrated very nicely, and the Tata logo. You have this piano black finishing, again the ceramic coating, which looks quite nice, and the tail lights might remind you of the UK flag. Well, Tata Motors has bought JLR. Anyways, jokes aside, there's this chrome line inside, halogen bulb. Tail light is actually, rather the brake light is actually LED. Rest is halogen on this vehicle, even the reverse lamp for the matter. And these are the reflectors of the car. Lot of attention to detail, lot of design elements. In fact, you have the tri-star here too. And this is actually a dummy. I think in the previous car, maybe that would have been the fog lamp, but it doesn't get a rear fog lamp. Maybe you have a provision to put it now. So the bumper is finished in black to reduce the visual bulk of the car, and lot of attention to detail at the rear. The car looks very nice and wide at the rear. You've got a roof spoiler as well, high mounted stop lamp too. You see this, the exhaust, well, it is right there below. No fake exhaust stuff on this car. That's actually a good thing, although that tri-star, I don't understand why there are so many Mercedes logos on this particular vehicle. We are in slippery terrain, Faisal, be careful. So yeah, the next one looks the same as before in this overall silhouette. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm so sorry. But it definitely looks fresher now with all the changes, and especially at the front, it looks really very smart. Let's open the boot of the vehicle. Now the boot carrying capacity is 350 liters, which is actually big enough. But right now the car cover is lying here. We're going to see what's below. Well, there's the spare wheel, which is 215 60 16. Yeah, it's a full size spare wheel, but it's not an alloy. It's a steel wheel on this car. You can obviously put forward the rear seats in 60-40 split. to improve the boot carrying capacity and making it a massive 690 liters. The parcel shelf says Tata, and can you read what it is? Well, I can't. So there are multiple hooks here, yeah, on all sides, and there is a light here too. So the boot is actually quite useful as such. Let's close this straight away and get into the rear of the Tata Nexon. Now see, it's honking. I hate this honking bit. It honks because I have the key in my hand, the key is not inside the car is on, and this chime is very irritating. They could have selected something better. So the TriStar is on the seats as well, so it's almost everywhere. That is the theme which Tata Motors is following, because they're in the Harrier as well. The floor is not flat because there's a hump here, but there is no center headrest as well. So the cabin is, although wide enough, center passenger is not really welcome because of the lack of headrest and that hump in the center. But there is a center armrest with twin cup holders. Seats are nice. They're actually angled. So yeah, they are angled for more comfort. And you can see parcel shelf is big enough. There's a hook and a handle here. And same is the case here as well. Actually, there's a hook here. There's another hook here. There's a handle here. You know what? Legroom is plenty. Okay. Knee room is massive. And under thigh support is also decent enough. Tata always does a good job with rear seat comfort. Headroom is about adequate, I would say. And the seat recline angle is good enough to give me good amount of comfort. Adjustable seat belt height, that's super cool. And obviously the door pockets are decent size. They're not really big as such. Actually, the angle of the cup holder, rather the bottle holder, is weird, but still there is storage space here which you can see. Tweeters, it gets 4 tweeters, 4 speakers, piano black finishing, and I like the design of the car. I like the way the door pads have been done as well. Okay, I like the recline angle of the seat also. It's very comfortable. The rear seat is super duper comfortable. I'm surprised it's so comfortable. Now you have to pull this thing to actually recline it. Yeah, unfortunately it can't be done with one hand. Yeah, so that's how you recline the seat to improve the boot carrying capacity. But they have done a great job with the recline angle because the roofline is sloping, yet you've got ample amount of headroom, at least for average heighted people, because of the recline of the rear seat. So job well done by Tata Motors. Now this car has plenty of features and some of them are super duper smart as well. Things you would not have thought earlier. Okay, it's again going to start ringing, ting, 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 ting. Please stop, thank you so much. Now door pockets are not really wide. Okay, they could have been bigger. Obviously, there is an umbrella holder here for smaller umbrellas, not the ones which I usually end up carrying. Like this one will definitely not fit. And why are we going on the other side? Because I want to see if there's a request sensor on the co-driver side. No, there is no request sensor on the co-driver side. Welcome to the party, Tata, with of course Hyundai and Kia. So there's a dead pedal right there. There's storage space here as well, and the TriStar is carried on the dashboard. It's again on the seats. The front seats are very comfortable, very nice, good amount of support on offer, and you can adjust it in multiple ways, manually of course. And just see the design of the car, absolutely nice. But you know what, all these switches are from the old Vista, which means that this is something which comes from Tata's old part bin. Not bad, but doesn't look that fresh as such. Piano black finishing. These are the controls for the outside rear view mirrors. Let's get inside, and there's so much to talk about here because the dashboard looks really well done. You get good treatment, and you can see this TriStar, it's everywhere. Mercedes-Benz is so proud of the partnership they had with Tata Motors. There's something written here. What is written here, Neha? Can you read that? I can't read it.
Airbag.
Airbag. Oh my god, it becomes so complex to read that. So let's turn off the indicators. Let's turn off the lights as well. See, I like the dashboard design. I like the way how this is done. Press this. There opens the glove box. It is a cool glove box. It's massive in terms of size because there's a tray here as well. Look at the amount of space inside. Absolutely baffling. And that's not all. Twin cup holders here. There's a pen holder. I don't know what this is going to hold. There's a Tiger here as well. Not the Shroff kind. And there's storage space here as well for other things. This is a cupboard in itself. It's absolutely crazy amount of space on offer. That's really very nice. But Neha, is it fine for you if I keep this glove box open and you can keep your tea or coffee there?
No, thanks.
This is not a flight. I understand that. Yeah, but you can't really use it this way. So, because they didn't give any cup holders here, they said, let's do it there. Why not? And that brings me to the center console. Firstly, there is so much space on offer, but unfortunately the shaping is very poor because just see these cuts and creases. These are unnecessary because I end up keeping my phone and it gets scratched. And obviously this is very much JLR like in terms of design. This is really nice, and there are twin cup holders on the inside as well, but this could have been pulled off much better. Handbrake is obviously placed on the co-driver side so that the co-driver can support you by pulling the handbrake so you can go about drifting. Jokes aside, a lot of understeer in Tata cars. This has been straight off lifted from the Hexa and it feels out of place here. It's just too big. Here could have been a proper cup holder. These buttons could have been here, like in the case of the Harrier, of course. automatic climate control, air conditioning, works really nice, but there's no display here. The display is actually there. Meanwhile, मुझे गर्मी लग रही है.
ठीक है, एसी का तापमान घटाकर 19 किया जा रहा है.
That is so cool. So it has got voice commands and they work in Hindi as well. That's absolutely baffling. And I mean, I can normally talk to the car and it actually is able to do a lot of things. It's got IRA connected car tech with the usual bits of geofencing and all those things, but I have not paired my phone for the same. So there are a lot of buttons here. This is actually for the front fog lamp. This is to lock or unlock the door. This is to open the boot of the car. And there's something known as Express Cool. What does it do? Well, here.
Express cooling on.
Okay. Usually when you do express cooling, it opens the driver's side window of the car and then it reminds you that the driver's side window is open, so you need to shut it. That's also
Express cooling off. Normal cooling mode on.
This is so freaking cool.
Express cooling off. Normal cooling mode on.
It's my vlog, let me talk, okay? So what happens at times is that if you are feeling really hot in the cabin, is really hot, now it will open the driver's side window and then after some time it will remind you to close the driver's side window. That's what express cooling does. That's a really nice thing and it's very workable in the Indian climate. Meanwhile, you've got a lot of buttons. This is obviously for the infotainment system, which is on the smaller side because this is a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Could have been bigger in terms of size. This is to turn it on or off and obviously for the volume control, and this is to browse through the various things as well. So you've got physical control. That's a nice touch, and you see you actually get chrome line here and you can shut the AC vents if you want. They properly shut. Yeah, that's right, they properly shut as well. This is the engine start stop button. Steering wheel feels nice to hold. It gets the leather wrap. It gets a flat bottom as well. It gets the piano black finishing too. These are the buttons for the cruise control. These are the buttons for the audio system, and this is to pick up a call, this is to decline a call, and this is for voice commands as well. So here we go again. Increase volume.
Okay, decreasing volume to 7.
Let's try this again. बहुत तेज बोल रहे हो.
I cannot do this in current media source.
आवाज बढ़ाओ.
जरूर, आवाज को 8 पे सेट कर दिया है.
Wow, this actually works brilliantly well. I'm so impressed. I'm staggered. But since we were talking about the Tiger, let me show that to you behind as well. So here too you can see that nice Easter eggs on the car. Well done, Tata Motors, well done. And now we are going to talk about the new instrument cluster. It's an all digital unit. In the center you've obviously got the speedometer, and on the top right you've got the tire pressure monitor. Unfortunately it's not really working because no matter how many times I filled air, it doesn't get reset. It just keeps telling me that there's low pressure in the front right and the rear left. There's a clock over here and trip data below. So in order to change the trip data, you press this button. It's telling you trip A, trip B, distance to empty as well, and the graphics are actually very nice. This is the ambient temperature and how many days for I don't know what. So you can actually reset everything from here. It's telling you the drive mode right there, a digital speedometer and instant fuel consumption. Telltale lights are placed everywhere, even on the top. This is the digital tachometer and a digital fuel meter along with a digital engine temperature meter. Only problem is that these are bars which are very difficult to read. So very nice cluster, definitely usable, readable, and you've got this chrome treatment around for that premium appeal as well. It's obviously got automatic wipers. Wipers work brilliantly well on this car. A lot of spray on offer. In fact, let's use the rear wipers, and you see the rear wiper also works brilliantly well on this vehicle. It's got automatic headlights too. But unfortunately, there is no auto dimming inside rear view mirror. There's a light placement here. There's a mirror on the co-driver side. There is no mirror on the driver side, but there is a toll receipt holder here, thankfully. And of course, the audio system is really very nice. Like I told you, it gets a 8 speaker system, out of which 4 are actually speakers and 4 are tweeters from Harman. Let's get into reverse, which means that I have to press a button behind here and then pull it behind. There is a reverse parking camera. It gets adaptive guidelines, which is really very nice. And this display obviously is nice to use. Could have been slicker and bigger in terms of size. It gets Apple CarPlay. It gets Android Auto connectivity. It also gets something known as themes. So you can change the theme as in how you wish to. There's something known as Zen. Same thing as the Harrier, of course. Color becomes red. Everything turns red. There's nothing to turn red here, but it only turns red here. And it also changes the climate control and the sound mode of the vehicle. So there's Zeal, which actually turns it to yellow, saying please turn on the climate control air conditioning. Of course I will, give me some time. I actually like the blue one because the car is blue colored as such. Build quality is really very nice, and there are some soft materials as well around, which is actually a good thing. It also gets a sunroof, but you know what Tata Motors has smartly done? They have kept separate buttons for separate things, so you never get confused. Here we're opening the sunroof. You see the sunroof size is actually decent. In order to close it, I press this button. There it closes. Very smartly done, not to create confusion. Oh my god. Okay, this thing actually goes inside and comes out again, and this is obviously to tilt the sunroof. So we're just going to close it for the moment. This doesn't go behind. It goes inside with the sunroof, but it doesn't go behind. All right. So let's do one thing. Let's play an audio right away. Play na nahi jaldi.
Show me what you got now. Come and make it worth my while. Give it to me, I'm worth it.
Audio quality is absolutely phenomenal. You know, the system is so well engineered, it does not rattle anything. Obviously, that is because of the build quality of the car. And like I told you, voice commands works really well. There's something known as what 3 words. Basically, you can navigate to any place with just 3 words. Yeah, that's right. Just using 3 words, you can actually navigate to a place. That also works really very nice. So Tata Motors has done a great job in terms of features. Okay, stop giving me information and stop giving me a demo. Meanwhile, it's also got a driver rear view monitor, just like Hyundai and Kia cars. This is the display, and when you actually turn it, it shows you the same thing. Now the only problem here is it says, okay, right now it's saying park brake engage, please release. I've released that. Check surrounding for safety. And when you're driving it, it is always telling you you're driving too fast even at 40 kilometers per hour because it's thinking you're always reversing. So they haven't programmed that very well. Now below here, there is some amount of storage space, but the problem is there's no proper storage space for your phone, unfortunately. There's a 12 volt charging socket, there's a USB slot, and there's an aux one which has been shut right now. It's no longer in use, unfortunately. The horn is really very nice because you can touch it anywhere and you can press the horn. It's a bit meek, but the problem is when you're turning now, it almost always keeps ringing. That is very inconvenient because people think you're very honking a lot. The rear view mirrors are also big enough and you can shut them if you want. So with the press of a button there, you can shut it. You can open them as well. The thing is, when you lock the car now, they automatically shut too, which is also pretty cool. Let's turn off the vehicle for the moment. They have turned it off. And let me show you a couple of more cool features. Firstly, it says Nexon here. Yeah, that is coolly done. A lot of Nexon badging on the car, not as much as the Thar, of course. Let me lock the car. Here, I lock the car. And in case, you see the mirrors obviously shut, the windows actually shut. No, the mirrors actually shut, the outside rear view mirrors shut. And if I press this button, I can turn on the lights as well. That's like guided lamps so that you don't get lost in the night. That's also super cool. Let's get driving right away. All right, we're all set to go into first gear. Yeah, the driver rear view monitor. And let's get going. Traction control unfortunately cannot be switched off. Now we are doing a city test here, and let me tell you that the drivability is not that great of this car because there is turbo lag lower down and the power delivery is not very smooth with a lot of flat spots. So lower down you're going to struggle, and that really robs away the driving feel, or rather the enthusiasm in the city for a car which is otherwise quite powerful as such. And the suspension is also on the stiffer side, unfortunately. So yeah, you can see a lot of movement, but you know, over bad roads it really rattles you. It does move around quite a lot, and that stiffness can be felt too, unfortunately. And this rear view monitor camera, I mean, the brightness could have been better for sure, although it has got adaptive guidelines. So when I'm turning also, you can see those things turn. Unfortunately though, they have not programmed this for being used at driving speeds. That's why it keeps giving you that warning. Rather, it's just written there as such. Now when you turn on the car, it shows you a full swipe up of almost everything. And this car's also got ISOFIX child seat mounts. It's actually using the parking sensors now and giving the warning for the same. Meanwhile, you don't have any USB at the rear, unfortunately. You've got a 12 volt charging socket on the parcel shelf on the left side, which is kind of unfortunate because it should have had a USB port. It's so usable and practical, this car, but that thing is kind of missing. Ground clearance is ample, so you never face any issue on bad roads. But right now I'm struggling because of the stiffness of the car, and the stiffness can be felt, especially over real bad bumps if you go fast. Now there's a thud inside, but thankfully the ride becomes better as you speed up a bit and flattens out to make the overall ride quite smooth, which you can obviously see at the moment. Now it's also got voice commands, and it will warn you if either of the seat belts are not worn at the moment.
Fasten passenger seat belt.
It says vehicle speed too high, drive slowly. I'm driving at 20 kilometers per hour. If 20 kilometers per hour is too high, then what speed should I be driving at? Reverse? That's what this camera actually means to say. Anyways, you can feel the stiffness all over the place, and I'm moving around. Thankfully, the ride actually flattens out as you keep speeding up. So the ride and this camera's overall thought is very different as such, and the horn keeps beeping because its placement is so weird as such. I mean, it's convenient, but unfortunately, when you're turning also now, you would end up hitting the horn as well. So out here, let me get into the gas, and honestly, it doesn't have the oomph in eco mode. It feels really very sluggish. So there are 3 drive modes on offer. There's eco, which you are driving in right now, and the third gear doesn't slot properly. So the eco mode is very sluggish and is a mode you should never use. So we'll get into city drive mode, and city drive mode is slightly better. Obviously, you can distinctly feel the difference between the 3 drive modes. Now it produces 120 horsepower. Meanwhile, the torque output happens to be 170 Newton meters from 1750 to 4000 RPM. So yes, it is a wide torque band, and because of that wide torque band, it has a stupendous mid-range punch. But unfortunately, right now when you're driving in city mode also, it doesn't give you all that power, because I think in city mode it's producing somewhere around 105 horsepower and maybe around 92 horsepower in eco mode and 120 horsepower in sport drive mode. Now there is actually a hook here, which is also a very convenient thing, so that you can put your bag on the passenger side. Yeah, and automatic wipers immediately start working so fast at speed. This thing should have been more clearer, rather brighter, would have been really very nice. Alright, we get into sport drive mode.
Sport drive mode activated.
Into first gear, revving the motor, revs till 4000 RPM, there's a soft limiter there, and yeah. It has a lot of power and torque on paper, but unfortunately it doesn't really translate to performance as such, because this car has got a traction control system, which unfortunately though cannot be turned off, and because it cannot be turned off, it really dulls down the performance. In fact, it dulls down performance to an extent that it robs away almost a second from the acceleration of 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. So 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes around 12.75 seconds, making it quite slow for a car which has 120 horsepower, and that's all thanks to the snatchy power delivery and the flat spots as well in the overall power delivery. So compared to the earlier Nexon, there is a 10 horsepower upgrade which has happened, which has obviously made it faster than before, but you can't really notice it as such, and the overall performance has become more linear comparatively. But unfortunately the flat spots have not been eliminated. Now this is a Revotron motor, it is turbocharged, but it cannot be compared to Hyundai Kia's 1 liter turbo petrol engine, because that also gets direct injection. This one does not, it's a turbocharged engine only, no direct injection here, and that shows because turbocharging is there, but unfortunately the motor doesn't feel as refined. Yeah, smoothness is there lower down, mid-range is really very strong, and the top end it becomes absolutely loud. In fact, you want to hear it? Here we go, listen to this. Yeah, they've tried to smoothen it. I always have an issue with third gear. They've tried to smoothen it out to a certain extent, which has definitely made it much better than before, but still this engine could have done with a lot more refinement and better power delivery. The power delivery just feels erratic to me. It just, like, the on-off transition of fueling is so badly done here, unfortunately. I expected a lot more, because it's not progressive, it's not linear all throughout. Like, overall power delivery is linear, but the way the fueling has been done is not linear, and that's why all of a sudden you're like, you're on the gas and snap, okay, there's a flat spot, and that really irritates you when you're trying to drive it flat out. However, in the city when you're driving it normally, again you have an issue because of the drivability is not that good because of the turbo lag. The turbo really spools up post 2000 RPM, and after which it gets a nice move along, and that's when it really performs well. In fact, between 2 to 5000 RPM is where this engine feels the best, because the mid-range is really very nice, and at lower speeds also the overall refinement isn't great. There is some amount of vibrations, but you actually accelerate and get into the mid-range, that also smoothens out, and the engine really feels at its best in the mid-range. Now it's a 6-speed gearbox. Right now I'm in 5th gear. I don't face any issues with any gear as such, particularly when I'm shifting smoothly and slowly. However, if you want to get into third, now there is some issue because the third does not slot in properly, and there is some notchy feel as well, and the throws are also long. The gear lever is also on the longer side. The clutch, although on the lighter side, is just too snappy. Again, it's very, like, on off is very fast here. Whether it's fueling, whether it's the clutch, it just gets on or off. There is no center point here, unfortunately. So as you can see, the performance is adequate, but you really have to work around things, work the gearbox, and be soft and smooth with the gear lever. Otherwise, you're going to go into a gear which doesn't even exist, which happens to me because there's something known as 3.5, which I'm finding here, that is between third and fourth, and it just, like, doesn't slot in properly all the time. Thankfully though, braking performance is really very good, and as you get into the gas here, red lines at 6000 RPM. Yeah, I'm figuring out what to do with third gear. I definitely feel the diesel would be better. The suspension is stiff for the petrol, the diesel would be stiffer still. So I don't know how the ride is going to be, but we're going to reserve all our judgments for the diesel when we drive the diesel, and the automatics of course. So as I see it, Tata Motors has given this car a great amount of power and performance on paper, but unfortunately that doesn't bode well when it comes to the real world, because the tuning of the engine could have been better, the way the power delivery happens could have been better, the drivability could have been better, turbo lag could have been better contained. Yes, we all say silence before the storm, and I'm the person who always keeps saying silence before the storm, but unfortunately there's no storm as such because of the linear power delivery. That said, I would say that if you drive this car sedately, you won't face any issue. It's just when you want that initial rush, you were like, could have done better. Obviously, car feels so much better in sport mode. For me personally, eco mode is just unbearable. I cannot drive in eco mode because it feels like there's a brick on the accelerator pedal. It just doesn't move and I keep getting onto the gas. So easy to take a U-turn. The steering wheel is super well weighed. So it's actually decently light at lower speeds and weighs up very nicely at higher speeds too. Braking performance is obviously sure-footed. Good amount of grip from the tires as well. Some coins are flying there, huh? Alright, let's get going. Some amount of wheel spin. Let's try and hear that. Not much actually. They're smoothened out the engine so much because of BS6. Now it feels very durable and nice if you go fast over bad bumps at higher speeds, and that's how the ride actually becomes better at speed. In fact, high speed stability is also very nice, and there is some amount of body roll, of course, and that body roll is because this is actually a heavy car and the springs are also on the taller side. So yes, there's body roll around the corners, but nothing to worry about as such. In second gear, it knocks off 95 kilometers per hour and then it decreases its pace by almost 3 to 4 kilometers per hour, and then it's just like stuck at 92. Little taller gearing would have been really very nice, and I've gone to fifth because I get confused between third and fifth at times. So there's a gear position indicator there as well. Let's get into third, and yeah, now you know what, I would have really appreciated if the lag wasn't there lower down, because there's no strong mid-range is strong, but there's no kick in the pants wheel. So right now we are in 6th gear and I'm going to show you how it accelerates. Okay, 6th gear, 80 kilometers per hour. My right foot is buried to the ground and you see it takes its own sweet time to pick up pace, because unfortunately it doesn't have the best in-gear acceleration, and that's caused due to the lag lower down. The turbo is still sleeping. The turbo is not woken up. Turbo, ud ja. Now it's getting ready, brushing its teeth, taking a bath. Okay, and it's too late. I can't wait. So I just downshift to 3rd gear and off we go. So that is the issue, you know. The engine has so much more potential. Unfortunately now the goalpost has been moved so further ahead by Hyundai, Kia and Volkswagen in terms of what a turbocharged engine should be, because the Volkswagen 1 liter TSI is an absolute gem. I love that engine. That engine is so good. It's so good that I can take it and put it in my cupboard at night and just look at it all day long. It is so brilliant. Unfortunately, this engine might be turbocharged, but it's not in the same league as the direct injection turbo engine. Now, obviously, Tata has done a great job by giving drive modes. Tata has done a great job by giving a turbocharged engine with a lot of power as well. But it just doesn't offer the thrills what you would expect from a car with 120 horsepower. Now, you can call it due to the weight, due to the tuning, due to the flat spots, whatever reason, but the engine just doesn't like to be driven enthusiastically, which is a shame, because the steering wheel is super awesome. It's so good, it's so well weighed and offers great feedback too. It weighs up so well that, dare I say it, it is one of the best steering wheels of a compact SUV. It is one of the best steering wheels of a compact SUV, because it just feels so direct, so precise, so well weighed, and it offers great communication too. So it's a missed opportunity, I feel. Great steering wheel, great amount of features, but unfortunately this engine, which is powerful enough, smooth enough, and doesn't really shout out, it only gets scores in the top end, because after 5000 RPM it's like, yeah, now I need to go back to sleep, because mid-range is super duper strong. That is a slight issue which I see with the Tata Nexon petrol. Obviously, I'm a diesel head. I love the diesel, but the petrol engine still can be a lot better. A great step up from the previous Tata Motors engines, petrol engine specifically speaking, but still needs a lot of improvement to be to global standards. Now, it's stable at higher speeds, a ton of electronic assistance as well. It's got electronic traction control, it's got brake disc wiping, it's got rollover mitigation, and Tata Motors has thrown in a lot of stuff inside this car in terms of electronic ability. And of course, this is a very safe car because it's got a 5-star NCAP rating too, because of robust construction as well. One of the safest cars in the country without a doubt, although the Mahindra XUV 300 has got an even higher safety rating. That's also 5-star NCAP, but does better in other areas. And obviously that's a global car because that's a SsangYong Tivoli underneath. So as I see, the Tata Nexon is a brilliant car. Just don't look at it as a spirited drive. Look at it as a comfortable car for driving every day, and not really pushing it. But I really don't understand, why don't we have a traction control button? I want to turn that off. You're bogging me down. You're slowing the car down. We don't need to slow down the car. Unfortunately, there is no button. There was no space to put a button, I believe. Maybe they could have put a button over here. Traction control off. I mean, nobody would accidentally press that, right? Obviously, I wouldn't. Some amount of wheel spin on offer. I'm telling you now, we can tune this car. It can become quicker by at least 1.5 seconds because it has the potential. The gearbox should be slicker shifting, the flat spots need to be eliminated, and the traction control should be thrown out of the window, thus making this car almost 2 seconds quicker from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Well, that would be staggering, but unfortunately, this is what it is. So we have got 32 variants on offer. That's absolutely insane. You know why 32 variants? Because petrol manual, petrol automatic, diesel manual, diesel automatic, and I'm not even talking about the EVs. There are 3 variants for the EVs as well. That's absolutely staggering. And that's not all. The 32 variants are because they have got multiple color options as well, but that is so much confusion. If you thought the Kia Seltos' lineup was confusing, well, say hello to the Tata Nexon. Now the range actually starts at 8.23 lakhs for the base petrol manual and goes all the way to 15.4 lakhs for the top end diesel automatic, which is the AMT. And if we factor in the EV, then the range actually goes till 17 lakhs. So there are 3 variants for the EV, which makes it 35 freaking variants. That's absolutely crazy. Now the variant I'm driving right now is the top end petrol manual, which costs 12.74 lakhs. Now all the prices which I talk about are obviously on road Mumbai, and you pay 70,000 extra for the AMT, 2 lakhs more for the diesel. So that is the Nexon lineup. So as I see it, the Tata Nexon is an absolute brilliant car, but I think there's a missed opportunity. It could have been better in the way this powertrain performs. Powertrain, because the engine and the gearbox could have been much better. Now the AMT, I am really keen to drive to see if the jerkiness is there or not, because that's something which is there with all the AMTs. But Tata's done a great job with attention to detail. I would definitely give the Nexon a big thumbs up. Although if you are a spirited driver, the steering wheel will make you excited, but the engine will not. And on that terrible discovery, or rather that enlightenment, it's time to end this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye, take care. Okay, where are we? Second gear. Let's get into first. First gear will do what? First gear will do 47. You know, they've smoothened out so much that it doesn't get to the point of, oh no, not any more types, which used to be the case in earlier petrol engines from Tata Motors. Now it's like, keep at it. I'm not going to let you accelerate past 6,000 RPM anyways. Third gear, what's wrong with you? So that's about it. So Neha, how did you like the Tata Nexon petrol? You were driving it earlier today. What do you think of the car?
चलती नहीं है यार.
Yeah, because you were driving in the city, right? So that snappiness really gets to you at a point. So they can smoothen it out, maybe tune it better. But other than that, how do you find the overall car in terms of features, in terms of equipment, in terms of the ride specifically speaking?
It's not for me. It's for more like people who are looking out for features and all that stuff. पकड़ो क्या होता है?
And now we are in between a rainstorm, so it's time to end. Bye bye.